Hi everyone, and thank you for joining WCI Consulting's ongoing webinar series. Today we're going over how to audit your business objects usage. We will, as always, please send any of your questions or chats. On the right-hand panel you'll see a function there. Send that over to us. Any questions that we get during the webinar we'll try to address during the webinar, and anything that we might not, we'll address at the question and answer stage at the very end. As always, here's our WCI mission statement. It gives you a little perspective of where we're coming from as a company and as individuals. And here's a little bit of history about WCI Consulting. We've been around since 1998, a little bit before business objects or business intelligence term was coined, and we were doing a lot of crystal reporting then, and we've kind of grown with the industry and company, if you will, since BusinessObjects purchased Crystal Reports and then SAP purchased BusinessObjects. We've been the BusinessObjects Partner of the Year for the last 2 years, and we're on track and hoping we will get it for next year as well. We're also really excited about our new offering. We call it Instant Access BI. It allows you to have access to a business intelligence consultant anytime during a workday. For more information, please feel free to contact me or visit our website, instantaccessbi.com, or you can visit wciconsulting.com. With that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Neil Dave, and he will be presenting today about how to audit your business objects usage.
Thanks, Trent. So today's discussion is going to be about auditing your business objects usage. And so what that basically means is that within your business environment and business objects environment, you have a tool called activity or auditing, to where it allows you to capture the activity that's occurring in your business objects environment. Why would that be useful? Well, some of the things that this does come in handy is the fact that if you have, for example, some reports that are taking a lot longer to run than expected, and you want to track how long it takes to run, and sometimes when you do have reports that run for a long time, they can crash, like the web intelligence job server, the report servers. And so if you want to find out, like, if a report server or anything like that crashed, what caused that to crash? Well, a lot of times you could find out that a specific report caused it to crash. So what you can do is you can build a report against the activity universe that allows you to capture that information and find out how long the report took to run, on what date it ran, and it will let you know that, okay, this report took a longer time to run, and that's why our business objects environment crashed. Another example would be if a report was accidentally deleted by a user, you could find out who deleted the report and on what day they did that. So as an example, that's a couple of those examples that I've seen or had to come across before in the past. So yeah, this is a very powerful tool that typically your administrators, your business objects administrators, should be responsible for. Okay, on my screen here you can see that I have a universe up, the activity universe. Before we dive into this universe, what I want to do is talk a little bit about and show you how to set up activity or set up the auditing database. So what you can do is, if you've already created or if you already have your existing business objects environment and you don't have activity captured, or you don't have auditing turned on, that's not necessarily an issue. It's kind of easy to be able to start capturing activity. So what you would do is go to Start, Programs, Business Objects 3.1, and then here go into the Central Configuration Manager tool, which is right here. When I click on that, what's going to come up here is the screen, your central management configuration. And then when I right-click on the SIA, or the Service Intelligent Agent, and go to Properties, I can go into the Configuration tab. And under the Configuration tab, what this first tells me is my BO's current CMS, or the CMS that's running against right now. And then if you notice here at the bottom, there's the auditing database. So now I know that the actual database that it's running against is this BO current audit database. So what you can do is you can create a database that automatically writes activity to that specific database. So for example, in this case, since we set it up when we first did the install, what we have is we've already created an ODBC connection, which I'm going to show you right now, that captures that auditing database. And one thing to keep in mind is that that you can create activity against any type of database. It can be your SQL Server database, it can be Oracle, it can be just your simple MySQL ODBC connections. You can do it that way as well. So in here, you'll notice that under the BO current audit, I've got this in here, and it's going against a SQL Server database. So once you set that up, once you set up your ODBC connection, in this case, like I said, we use the SQL Server database. You set that up, you have your ODBC connection. Then in here, you can click on specify. The reason why it's grayed out right now is because I've turned the SIA agent, or the server, is on, and I don't want to turn that off. But once you stop this service, this specify button will become active, and then you can specify on a specific ODBC connection that you want to set up, or you want to have that database point to. So that's how you would simply set up auditing database to be able to write activity towards your database. Okay? So once you've got that set up, what automatically occurs is that you have, once your auditing set up, then BusinessObjects creates a activity universe for you. And typically that's going to be found under your, if you want to file, import, and then under your browse, and if you click on the top level right here, with your root folder, it's called the activity universe. And then once you pull that in, this is already a pre-built universe that's available to you. And so once you've got these tables and joins are already created for you, and the nice thing is that the classes are already created for you as well. All right, so all the classes, along with, if you expand it out, you'll see all these different objects that are assigned in here for you. And if you go into your file parameters, the only thing you do need to set up beforehand is you need to create an auditing connection. Just create a new universe connection. And in this case, once I click on edit here, it's going to ask me to put in the username and password and the data source that I'm running against. And remember, that's my ODBC connection that I'm connecting to. And that's the username and password that's running against that SQL Server database. Okay? So once you've got that set up, then you've got your connection set up, and then you should be good to go to start reporting against this universe. Okay, so here are some of the different objects that are automatically created for you. You can, when you get a second, you can always go through and check them out for yourself. Okay, so once you've got this already set up, then you can export. Once you've got your universe connection set up, then you can go back and go to File, Export. Then you can just go export the universe back to that root folder, and then your changes with your new universe connection are already created for you. Okay? So once you've got your universe set up, you've got, you got your ODBC connection set up, you've got the ODBC connection pointed to a universe connection that you've created. Then the next thing you need to do is go into SAP Central Management, SAP Central Management Console. Once you log into here, what you're going to do is you're going to set specific services to capture data. So you can't just immediately create reports against the data, you can't create reports against this universe until you tell what services that you want to capture. So what you need to do, this will make a little bit more sense when I click on servers here. When I click on servers, it's going to populate a list of all the services that are running in my BusinessObjects environment. And one of the main ones you want to capture is under the Central Management Server. And for some of you that are not familiar with the Central Management Server, what that is it's basically the brain of BusinessObjects. So nothing's going to work unless this services is up. So what you want to do is you typically want to capture information that's running against the Central Management Server. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on here. I'm going to right click here, and then I'm going to click on Audit Events. And what that's going to do is it's going to pop up a screen in here. And then what this is telling me is that I want to make sure that the auditing is enabled. So I check that box, and it's telling me what specific events I want to audit. Well, I want to find out if a user login failed. I'm going to check that. If the user logs off, I want to capture that If an object is created, object deleted. And if you remember from my earlier example, if a report was deleted or a universe deleted, if I check this box right here, I'll know that, okay, I know that I can capture a object was deleted, or basically a report that was deleted out of here. So that's the type of information they can capture on here. So you've got these different events that you can set up. And then some other reports in here, some other services you can turn on. For example, if I scroll down here to the bottom, the Web Intelligence Processing Server, if I right-click on that and go into Audit Events, we'll give that a second to display. Okay, and so on this one, you'll notice that the list is a little bit different. I have to make sure auditing is enabled. I want to find out if when the list was retrieved, a document saved, a document retrieved, universe selected, document refreshed, list or values refreshed, and there's a lot of different things that you can select in here that the type of events you want to capture. So with that in mind, I would recommend that you would turn on a few of these services to make sure that you get a complete and accurate activity capture within your BO environment. Okay. So once you've determined what universe or what services you want to turn on, then you can start creating a business objects report. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into my info view page here, and once I log in, I can go ahead and immediately start creating a report. So when I go in here, I'm going to go to New and Web Intelligence Document, and make sure that typically, like I said, these universes, this activity universe, is something that your business objects administrator is typically the person that needs to have access to it. It's something I would not recommend giving to end users, just because this is just more information that the administrator needs to have access to. All right, so we'll wait for a second to, once I've selected the activity universe, now we'll just wait for a second for the panel, the query panel, to show up. And what this panel is going to show me is my list of classes and objects that were in this activity universe. Now I can start building a report against them, or building some reports against that specific activity universe. So this is a very flexible tool that allows you to build ad hoc reports to where you can just display, you can run, once you create some of these reports, you can refresh them at any time and capture the most up-to-date information if you need to. And so what I'm going to do, for example, here is I'm going to create one of the reports that I talked about a little bit earlier. I'm going to find out when a report was captured, who ran the report, and how long it took to run. Excuse me. So again, these are the different classes in here. Here's the classes, and then here are the different objects. So if I'm going to pull an action name, what action name does is the action name captures the different actions that occurred. So for example, if the object was deleted, if it was modified, if the document was refreshed, generate SQL, that's one of the things that will capture. So this will make a little bit more sense once I start creating this report, and you'll see the data, and that'll make a little bit more sense in here. Okay, so I'm going to pull in the username. So this captures the username of your business objects person. So whenever you have your business objects users created, it will capture that BO username. All right? And then I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to go to action time. I'm going to find out when in time I did create that, or this action occurred, excuse me. So it's going to tell me the year, month, and date on here. And these are different date stamps on here that you can find as well. And now I'm going to find out what universe it's running against. So or actually in this case, I can return the document name that is being used, and then the universe is right here under the action details class. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to find out what the action name was, the user that created the action, the date and time that was selected, the document name that was created, and the universe that it's running against. So if I hit Run Query, give it a second to run. Okay, so what showed up here is my report that has the document, the action name here, which is document refresh, the username, in this case administrator, and the dates that it was that this occurred on, and then what was the name of the report that was created off of that, or what activity I did within that report. So, for example, this row-level security report was ran on February 6th. All I did was refresh the document, and it's running against this eFashion universe. So again, this is one way you can capture what activity is being used. Some examples where I would find this useful is the fact that if you have a business objects environment that you're trying to decommission, not necessarily the environment, but a universe or reports that need to be decommissioned, you can run this activity universe to find out, okay, when's the last time the report was ran, who ran it, and then you can communicate with that user if that's something they still need. So that's where something like this report would come in handy in, to where you can find out when a report was last ran and if the universe needs to be kept in your environment or not, as an example. So there's different types of reports you can build in here. If I go back into Edit Query, I'm going to show you briefly some of the other objects that are created. Different things in here. Let's see. Action details, we briefly looked at that. It gives you like another name for viewed report name. It's the same thing as document name. The universe name is the one we pulled over, the name of the universe. The action measures is the number of actions that occur against that specific action. So what that means is the action name, how many times was that document refreshed? That's what the number of actions is basically telling you here. Okay? So that's that information. If you scroll down, you'll see some more. One of the nice ones I like to see is the server information to find out what server it was running against at that time. So that can determine what type of, how fast your server is running, or excuse me, how fast that service is running. The server name in this case, what that's referring to is a service within your business objects environment. So that can determine the type of service, how fast your service is running at that time the report was being generated or refreshed. So one of the nice things, so you can build any type of reports against this. So once your report is built, you can create graphs against it. You can this is just another web intelligence document that you can display in different types of, you can massage the data in any type of way you want to work. You can create graphs, you can create different tables, so on and so forth. So those are some ad hoc reports that you can build. Now, if you go back into document list, there are some canned reports that are already built for you. So if I go back to public folders and go to Auditor, if I click on that and open up the EN folder, and again, these are canned reports that come with the BusinessObjects install. So I'm going to let this open up this folder, and then here are some reports that are built against it. So average refresh time for a report, document information detail, how many, let's see here. Last login for a user, when's the last time they logged in? The least accessible documents, the most accessed documents in here. The most active users, which you may find beneficial. Go ahead and bring that over here. And so this, if I go back into that one, most active, most accessed documents, so I'm going to double click on that, and what this is the package on here. I'm going to find out, I'm going to run this crystal report, just double click on it, and I'm going to find out the most accessed documents by refreshes. So this is going to tell me how many, it's going to capture the documents that were refreshed the most. That's what this document's going to basically build for me. All right, so we'll give it a second for this report to generate. But yeah, as you saw from that previous screen, there's a lot of canned reports that are out there that you can use. And again, this will run against your activity universe. So you will immediately return your data from this. So I'm going to say, okay, so I just want to capture the specific, I want to look at web intelligence document. What folder path do I want to specifically look at? I'm going to choose all of them. And then the report date, start, and end date. Well, let's run it for the beginning of this year. Okay, say at the beginning of this year, and then let's choose today at this time. Hit OK. and then the report's going to refresh. And so, again, what this is going to do is it's going to capture the most refreshed reports within a web intelligence report that was refreshed from the beginning of this year. Okay? So what this is doing is it's telling me I have the name of the report here is row level security was refreshed 18 times between January 1st until today. So this is very nice canned report that tells me all the different reports that are being run against. Okay? So again, you can use these canned reports, or you can build your own reports, build your own ad hoc reports. But just make sure you have the setups done properly, which again is creating the ODBC connection and then making sure your auditing is turned on and capture the services that you want to turn on within the CMC, and then ensure Universe Designer that your universe that you've created, or I'm sorry, the universe that's built has the new universe creation, a new universe connection pointing to your ODBC connection, and then from there you should be able to run your reports. That's all I had, Trent. I'm going to pass it back to you.
All right, thank you, Neil. And let me bring up and then we've got, if anyone has any questions or anything like that, please feel free to use it, the right-hand side. We've got our first question here. Neil, how would you add user group information to audit reports?
User group information. Right now, it currently only captures usernames. It doesn't capture groups. So what you would have to do is you just have to pull in that individual user, unfortunately. It doesn't capture group information. So you would just have to pull in that username and then run the report against that specific activity you want to report against, and then you'll be able to get that information.
And our next question here is, can you create crystal reports instead of the Webby documents?
Yes, absolutely. The report that I just ran right now was a crystal reports document. So yes, once you create, what you would do is you would open up crystal reports. Your data source in that case would be that activity universe, and then you can build your report against that. And then export that report to the repository.
Okay, Neil, in value of time, if anyone else has any questions, please feel free to use either of our email addresses up there, listed there. I'd like to remind you of our new service as well, Instant Access BI. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. We thank you for coming on to this webinar. Our next webinar is going to be in 2 weeks. It's going to be over Webby reports, and then we'll have another webinar 2 weeks after. As always, if you have any suggestions for topics or anything that you think would be interesting or you found difficult or a lack of information out there, please feel free to contact us. We'll always love getting input, and we're trying to be as accessible to you guys, for we know that you guys are the user community, and it's a valuable resource for us within the business intelligence arena. Thank you again, and have a great day.